Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video we explore the often odd and quirky world of Five Nights at Freddy's with a look at the weirdest character creations of all time. In past videos we've taken a look at Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, and many more of the mainline animatronics and their variants, so with the main cast out of the way, it seemed fitting to cap things off with a look at the proverbial leftovers. These remaining characters from creator Scott Cawthon's vast roster of terrors are often funny, sometimes creepy, but always weird to behold. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into a look at the weirdest FNAF characters of all time. One of the creepiest animatronics found on this rundown, Music Man fuses together elements of both man and arachnid. His humanoid facial design paired with a set of spider-like legs. Music Man's face remains static no matter what the situation. A freakishly long mouth full of rectangular teeth sits below a bulbous pink nose, above which we find a pair of black, lifeless eyes. Again, these eyes resemble those of a spider. His chest cavity contains a speaker from which his audio can be heard, and as he talks, Music Man clashes together a pair of cymbals which he holds between large gloved hands. Music Man first appeared as a purchasable product from the restaurant in the 6th mainline game FNAF Pizzeria Simulator, where he made up part of the Rare Auctions catalogue. It wasn't until the arrival of Ultimate's Custom Night that this creepy musical attraction actually posed a threat to the player. If we make too much noise, Music Man will begin clashing his cymbals until eventually he storms into the security room and jump scares the player.
Hey, keep it down, would ya?
This jump scare also gave Music Man a voice. He sounds upbeat, yet highly unhinged and deranged as his vocals distort in sadistic pleasure. Clowns are scary to many people. There is even a phobia of clowns known as coulrophobia. So it's no surprise that when designing clown mascots for Fazbear Entertainment, Scott Cawthon decided to make them look extra weird. These clowns come in two forms, Fruit Punch and the Lemonade Clown, and, as their names suggest, are used to dispense drinks to the thirsty patrons of a pizzeria. They appeared first in FNAF 6 as part of the Smiles and Servos section of the catalogue, and came packaged with a minigame in which the player must choose the optimal time to sound a klaxon and scare the living daylights out of as many children as possible.
Fruit punch for everyone.
However, one of these clowns harbours a dark secret. You may have noticed that Fruit Punch Clown looks a little more angry and, dare I say, evil than his counterpart. On very rare occasions, this wicked side is revealed via a line of dialogue. This audio is disturbing and unexpected to say the least.
Tell anyone about this and I cut your throat.
Another oddly creepy looking vendor found in Fazbear Pizzerias is the Prize King. For the low cost of $7,770, this gold-plated king can be yours, purchased from the Rare Finds auction catalogue. This king wears a jewel-plated crown, with beady green eyes, a large nose, and abnormally wide smile. He manages to seem friendly and strangely intimidating all at once. Perhaps it's the lack of limbs that does it. Prize King wears a cape which cloaks his body, and this body is full of circular capsules which contain, if we're lucky, a prize. These prizes are obtained via a rather uneventful minigame as seen on screen here. But outside of this minigame, there isn't really that much more to say in regard to this strange Five Nights character. Surely one of FNAF's weirdest characters, Candy Cadet is a blue and grey robot with a pair of tall orb-like antennas atop his plate-shaped head. A head adorned with multicoloured lights which flash on and off as he talks. His arms are made from spring-like devices with pincers on each end, while his body contains a candy dispenser. Below this, two slots for accepting coins are found, situated between a pair of large treaded wheels. At first sight, Candy Cadet is simply a rather odd looking robot. However, there is something more to this strange mechanical jumble than first meets the eye. Candy Cadet tells a series of morbid and depressing stories. These are often genuinely unsettling. Take a listen to just one as an example.
Now I will tell you a story. A story about a kind man who would visit 5 orphans and bring them toys and gladness. The man lived alone, and lived in fear that someone might break into the house of one of the 5 children, so he adopted all 5, and brought them together in one place, in his own home. He promised them to never leave them, and they promised to always come home, and never stay out too late. He left one day to buy food, his heart being filled with gladness, but returned to find that the burglar had chosen his home, and killed all 5 of the children. The man could only afford one coffin, so he stitched the 5 bodies together to make one, and buried the child. That night, there was a knock at the door.
Fun fact, the voice of Candy Cadet is actually the same Ivana text-to-speech program used by streaming websites such as Twitch TV, and employs the Brian accent. The next 3 characters aren't really in any of the FNAF games in a meaningful way, however they are easy enough to spot and incredibly strange and creepy looking. They are all humanoid in appearance and seem to be puppets or marionettes of some kind. The first of these characters is called Little Joe, a Pinocchio-looking robot who first appeared as a prop in FNAF's sister location, and can be seen in one of the sponsorship advertisements for Lally's Lollies during Pizzeria Simulator. Another prop character we see during our sister location adventure is this female puppet. She is called Gypsy and resembles the look of a fortune teller of Egyptian descent. We also see across from Gypsy a collection of creepy blinking heads. Finally, we have the Magician, and as his name suggests, he looks like, well, a conjurer of sorts. This magician sports a tiny top hat, big red flower lapel, and waves a magic wand. He can be seen while exploring the circus control sector in sister location. However, later the magician would also appear in Ultimate Custom Night as decor for the sister location stage. Looking like a giant egg, hence his name, Egg Baby also goes by another name, Data Archive. This is because he can be used to scan animatronic blueprints as seen in the Insanity ending of Pizzeria Simulator. Egg Baby is certainly one of FNAF's most distinctive and weird looking cast members. Those enormous eyes, rosy cheeks, and big bucktooth smile immediately jump out to us, as does his tiny companion who is tucked away within Baby's chest cavity. The final portion of this video is going to be devoted to a musical gang of animatronics. This gang is known as Mediocre Melodies, and the animatronics within it are certainly strange and very different from those we are used to encountering. The Mediocre Melodies animatronics first appeared in FNAF 6 and were purchasable for use within the pizzeria. However, they later showed up in Ultimate Custom Night, where they would hunt the player through the vent system. Nedbear feels like the hillbilly-styled cousin of Fredbear. He certainly has the look of Freddy and his variants, although he seems a little dim-witted, with wonky eyes and a springy hat atop his head. He almost comes across as a businessman of sorts, wearing a red tie around his neck. Upon jump-scaring us in Ultimate Custom Night, we hear Nedbear speak in a thick Arkansas accent.
Don't you hate getting killed by obscure secondary characters?
Happy Frog is a feminine, bright green and yellow frog, and the singer of the group. She has magenta eyes with thick black eyelashes and a buck-toothed grin. Her personality seems almost childlike, and she speaks in an innocent and loving tone. Although on certain occasions during her game over screen, we hear a far more sinister line of dialogue. Take a listen to both audio types.
Freddy Fazbear. Happy Frog is the new star of the show. We've only just begun. I will never let you leave. I will never let you rest.
Orville Elephant is a magician of sorts. On his chest we see a large purple flower, and in his hand a magic wand for entertaining visitors of the pizzeria. When speaking to us after a jump scare, he talks in an upper-class British accent full of overdramatic flair and pomposity.
What did you think of my act?
Pigpatch is a banjo-playing pig, but there's more to him than first meets the eye. When Pigpatch jump scares the player, many of his lines actually reference ancient Japanese proverbs. These are likely used to make light of a player's failure and suggest that Pigpatch views said failures as dishonourable. There is even a quote which comes directly from the book The Art of War by Sun Tzu. But the depth of these messages is often overshadowed by a comically timed banjo ditty played shortly after.
I consider it a dignified death. Not really, it was actually quite pathetic.
Mr. Hippo has one of the most humorous jokes from the entire franchise. When this purple hippopotamus jump scares the player, things don't end there. Instead, we are forced to listen to this elderly character's long and meaningless fables as images of him slowly fade in and out of view. Take a listen to one of these stories, and I'll see you on the other side.
It seems that you have met your end. What a pity. You know, I don't feel too bad about it, though. After all, if it weren't me, it would have just been one of the others, I guess. I'm honestly just glad to be out of those air ducts. You know, it's not easy for a hippopotamus to fit up there, and not easy to get down either, and not as young as I used to be, as you can see. I used to be able to do all the sorts of things. You're young, you're vibrant, you have that sort of pep in your step. It reminds me of a conversation I was having with one of my good friends, Orville. We were having a nice picnic one day. I believe it was summer. No, perhaps it was it the fall? Yes, it was the fall because the leaves had turned already. But I said to Orville, I says, Orville, I have a story to tell you. And Orville looked at me, kind of odd and said, what's it about? I said to him, not every story has to be about something, Orville. Sometimes a person just wants to talk. Why does everything have to be a story? I said to him. He just looked at me and he said, well, you said you had a story, and, he was quite right. I did, in fact. I told him I had a story. I suppose if a person just wants to talk, then it's best to not announce that you're telling a story. Telling a story does come with its own pressures and expectations, I suppose. After all, if you're just talking to a friend, then there's no more expectations than if you were talking into the wind. Words by themselves aren't expected to carry, aren't expected to stick. But if you announce you're telling a story, well then, there'd better be a point to it all, No one wants to sit and listen to someone ramble on and on and on with absolutely no end in sight. So, it's good to be mindful that when you tell someone that you're about to tell a story, that you have something to say. Telling someone that you're going to tell them a story is tantamount to asking them to stop what they're doing and pay attention. You're basically saying, hey, buddy, stop everything. Stop what you're thinking. I have a solution to everything. And, well, I didn't really have any story to tell. In hindsight, I probably just misspoke when I said that I had a story. I think it would have just been better to tell Orville that I wanted to tell him something rather than tell him that I had a story. But even then, it might have put too much importance on the whole thing. Either way, it was quite a nice day. I remember that we were drinking tea.
Whoa, sorry guys, I nodded off there for a moment. I think this is the perfect time to wrap up today's video. A look at the weirdest characters from the FNAF universe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.